The airport lounge reeked of stale coffee and desperation, the kind that clings to families fracturing under the weight of unspoken truths. Evelyn Hargrove clutched her Louis Vuitton purse like a shield, her lips pursed into that familiar line of disapproval as she glanced at her son Nathan one last time. "I told you, Nathan. This trip is for family, for the ones who fit," she hissed, her voice slicing through the hum of announcements like a knife through silk, before turning on her heel and marching toward the gate without a backward glance. Nathan stood frozen, the sting of her words blooming in his chest like a bruise he couldn't ice. At 32, he'd built an empire from the ground up. Hargrove Aviation, a fleet of private jets that ferried the elite across continents. But in his mother's eyes, he was still the boy who'd shattered her perfect narrative by loving Zachary. The betrayal wasn't just her walking away. It was the echo of every holiday dinner where she'd pretended he didn't exist, every whispered prayer for him to change that he'd overheard through thin walls in their old Brooklyn brownstone. He watched her silhouette disappear into the crowd, the boarding pass for flight HA 717 fluttering in her hand, the very flight he'd personally cleared for takeoff. A bitter laugh escaped his lips as he adjusted the collar of his understated blazer, the one Zachary always said made him look like a tech mogul playing CEO. "Fit," he muttered to the empty air. As if any of us ever did. But deep down, Nathan knew this wasn't just about the trip to Aspen for Uncle Ray's 60th. It was the final unraveling of the Hargrove family tapestry, threads pulled loose by prejudice and pride. Zachary found him there minutes later, weaving through the throng of business travelers with that effortless grace that had first caught Nathan's eye at a rooftop bar in Manhattan 3 years ago. Tall and lean, with tousled auburn hair and eyes the color of storm-tossed seas, Zach dropped his duffel at Nathan's feet and pulled him into a hug that smelled of cedar cologne and quiet strength. "She didn't even look back, did she?" Zach murmured, his breath warm against Nathan's ear. Nathan shook his head, burying his face in Zach's shoulder for a beat longer than dignity allowed. "Said it's for the ones who fit. Like I'm some puzzle piece she can't force into place." He pulled away, forcing a wry smile. "You know, the irony? That plane she's on, it's mine. The whole damn fleet is mine. And she thinks she's escaping me." Zach's brow furrowed, that protective glint sparking in his eyes. "Then why let her board without you? Call it off, Nate. Make a statement. Because statements don't fix broken mothers." Nathan sighed, slinging his own bag over his shoulder. "Besides, Uncle Ray invited us both. If she wants to play pretend family, let her. We'll drive up, take the scenic route through the Rockies. Turn it into our own adventure." Zach chuckled, low and rumbling, the sound a bomb against the raw edges of Nathan's hurt. "Our own adventure? Huh? As long as it involves a cabin, a fireplace, and zero Hargrove drama." They stepped out into the crisp November chill of LaGuardia, the city skyline a jagged promise against the gray sky. Nathan had always loved New York for its unapologetic pulse, the way it swallowed secrets and spat out reinventions. He'd come out at 22, fresh from Wharton with an MBA and a heart full of fire, only to watch his father nod silently while his mother wept as if he'd died. Richard Hargrove, the stoic accountant who'd passed young from a heart attack, had left behind a widow clinging to Southern Baptist roots transplanted to Yankee soil. Evelyn's grief had twisted into judgment, her love conditional on conformity. But Nathan, he'd channeled that rejection into fuel. Dropped out of the family accounting firm, poured every dime into aviation startups. And by 28, Hargrove Aviation was a name whispered in boardrooms from Wall Street to Silicon Valley. Private charters for celebrities, executives, even the occasional politician dodging paparazzi. And through it all, Zachary, his anchor, his lover, the man who'd taught him that vulnerability wasn't weakness but the truest form of power. As they merged onto the I-80 westbound, the Hudson River glittering farewell in the rearview, Nathan's phone buzzed. A text from his cousin Lila. "Mom's on the plane. Acting like you're invisible." Uncle Ray's pissed. "Where are you?" He showed it to Zach, who gripped the wheel tighter, his jaw set. "She's cutting you out again," Zach said, voice edged with that quiet fury he reserved for injustices against the people he loved. "After everything, the holidays you hosted, the check you cut for her roof repair last year without a thank you." Nathan stared at the passing billboards, ads for luxury watches and escape vacations mocking his reality. "It's not just me. It's us." She saw that photo from our anniversary dinner, the one Lila posted. "Me kissing you under the Empire State Lights." Next family call. Radio silence. Zach reached over, squeezing Nathan's knee. "And yet here we are, road-tripping like Bonnie and Clyde, minus the crime spree. Tell me that's not a win." It was. In the soft glow of dashboard lights, with classic rock crooning from the speakers, Springsteen belting Thunder Road like a battle cry, Nathan felt the tension uncoil just a fraction. They stopped for dinner at a diner off the Pennsylvania Turnpike, the kind of place with checkered floors and pie under glass domes. Over greasy burgers and Zach's bad jokes about aviation acronyms, Hargrove Aviation, helping avoid more family awkwardness, Nathan sketched out the weekend in his mind. Aspen. Snow-dusted peaks. Uncle Ray's sprawling cabin. Lila's infectious laugh. Maybe, just maybe, a chance to bridge the chasm with Evelyn. But as night fell and they checked into a roadside motel with a neon vacancy sign flickering like a heartbeat, doubt crept in. Nathan lay awake beside Zach's sleeping form, tracing the curve of his lover's shoulder in the moonlight. What if this trip was the end? What if Evelyn's boarding pass was her goodbye ticket, severing the last tie? Dawn broke with frost on the windshield and a voicemail from the pilot of HA-717. "Mr. Hargrove, ma'am's settled in first class. Smooth skies ahead. ETA Aspen, 1,400 hours." Nathan deleted it without replying, a knot tightening in his gut. Little did Evelyn know, her escape was funded by the son she'd abandoned. The drive stretched on, miles of autumn foliage blurring into a therapy session on wheels. Zach prodded gently, drawing out stories Nathan rarely shared. The high school bullies in Queens who'd shoved him into lockers, calling him Fairy Boy. The first awkward fumble with a college roommate that ended in tears and confusion. The night he met Zach at that Soho gallery opening, where a shared glance over cheap champagne sparked a conversation that lasted till sunrise. "You're a survivor, Nate," Zach said as they crested a hill into Ohio's flatlands. "Not because you had to be, but because you chose to build something unbreakable." Nathan glanced at him, heart swelling. "And you? What did I ever do to deserve you dragging me through this mess?" Zach grinned, that boyish flash that still made Nathan's pulse stutter. "You showed up. That's enough." By midday, they'd hit Chicago's outskirts, the Windy City a brief detour for deep dish pizza and a stolen kiss in Millennium Park, tourists oblivious to their quiet defiance. But as they pushed west into Iowa's endless cornfields, Nathan's phone lit up again. This time, a call from Uncle Ray. "Nate, boy, where the hell are you?" Ray's voice boomed, laced with cigar smoke and concern. "Your mother's on the bird. acting like the Queen of Sheba. Told the flight attendant she's traveling solo because of family matters. I invited you and that fine young man of yours, Zach. Right? Don't let her run you off. Nathan gripped the phone, wind whipping through the cracked window. We're driving, Uncle Ray. Be there tomorrow. And yeah, Zach's with me. Good. Bring the fight. Hargroves don't fold. Ray paused, softening. She loves you, kid. Twisted as it is. Just buried under a mountain of fear. Hanging up, Nathan relayed the call, Zach nodding thoughtfully. Fear's a hell of a drug. But love, that's the antidote. That night, in a Des Moines hotel with threadbare towels and a view of grain silos, they made love slowly, deliberately, as if mapping each other's scars. Nathan's hands roamed Zach's back, tracing the faded tattoo of a compass rose, a reminder from Zach's Navy days that true north wasn't a place but a person. In the afterglow, tangled in sheets that smelled of bleach and possibility, Nathan whispered, "What if she never comes around?" Zach kissed his temple. Then we keep flying solo. Together. Morning brought blizzard's warnings and a text from Lila. Mom's landed. Asking for you. Said something about regretting the rush. Hope flickered, fragile as a match in wind. They pressed on, the Rockies looming like judgmental gods on the horizon. Little did they know, the real storm was brewing at 30,000 feet, where Evelyn Hargrove was about to crash land into a truth that would shatter her world. Evelyn settled into the plush leather of Seat 2A, the first-class cocoon on HA 717, a far cry from the economy scrunch of her youth. She sipped her pre-takeoff mimosa, the bubbles tickling her throat like false promises, and stared out at the tarmac where ground crew swarmed like ants. For family, she'd told herself, justifying the snub to Nathan at the gate. Real family. But the word tasted like ash, her conscience pricking at the memory of his face, those hazel eyes, so like his father's, clouding with hurt. The flight attendant, a poised woman named Carla with a name tag gleaming under cabin lights, leaned in. Mrs. Hargrove, anything before we taxi. Evelyn waved her off with a manicured hand. Just get me to Aspen in one piece. And no delays. I've got a birthday to celebrate. Carla nodded, vanishing into the galley, but not before Evelyn caught the subtle glance toward the cockpit. She thought, dismissing it as jet-lag paranoia. As the engines hummed to life, a jolt of nausea hit, not from the altitude, but from the empty seat beside her. Ray had booked for him, her, Nathan, and that partner of his, Zachary. The name alone conjured images Evelyn tried to bleach from her mind. Two men entwined, defying God's blueprint. She'd prayed for years, novenas and therapy sessions disguised as mother-son talks. But Nathan had only drifted further, successful, yes, but lost to her in ways money couldn't buy. The plane taxied, wheels thumping over seams, and Evelyn closed her eyes against the ascent. Memories flooded. Nathan as a boy, gap-toothed grin under Christmas lights, building forts in the living room while Richard chuckled from his armchair. Then puberty, the furtive glances at male models in magazines, the high school counselor's call about identity issues. She'd blamed herself at first, too much independence, not enough church. But blame hardened into walls, and when Nathan came out at that disastrous Thanksgiving, declaring his love for a faceless someone, the walls became fortresses. "Ma'am," Carla's voice pulled her back. The plane had leveled, seatbelt sign dinging off. Captain's compliments. He'd like a word after beverage service. Evelyn arched a brow. The captain? Tell him I'm not in the mood for chit-chat. Carla hesitated, a flicker of amusement in her eyes. It's protocol for VIPs, Mrs. Hargrove. You'll understand. VIP? Evelyn huffed, ordering a Bloody Mary to steady her nerves. The flight smoothed into monotony. Clouds like cotton balls below, the in-flight magazine extolling Aspen's slopes. She flipped through, pausing at an ad for Hargrove Aviation. Elevate your journey. Sleek jets, smiling execs. Her son's company. Pride warred with resentment. He'd named it after the family, yet excluded her from board meetings, sending checks instead of invitations. An hour in, Carla reappeared, tray balanced. Captain Ellis will see you now, if you're ready. Evelyn set down her glass. Curiosity piqued. Fine. Let on. The cockpit door swung open to a compact space humming with dials and screens. Captain Ellis, mid-40s with salt and pepper hair and a mustache that screamed ex-military, rose from his seat. But it wasn't him who made Evelyn's breath catch. It was the co-pilot, turning from the controls with a nod that chilled her to the bone. Nathan, the word escaped as a gasp, her purse slipping to the floor. Hey, Mom. His voice was even professional, but those eyes, hurt masked as calm, betrayed him. He gestured to the jump seat. Take a load off. We've got some air to clear. She sank into it, world tilting worse than any turbulence. You own this plane, the whole airline. Guilty. Nathan adjusted a lever, the plane banking slightly west. Co-pilot today. Figured I'd fly you myself. Evelyn's mind reeled. All those voicemails she'd ignored about business trips, the vague mentions of charters. Her son, not just an exec, but the man at the helm, literally. Why didn't you say, at the gate, I boarded without me? Nathan finished, not unkindly. Yeah. I saw. Silence stretched, broken only by the whoosh of recycled air. Evelyn twisted her rings, silver bands worn thin from years of wringing hands in prayer circles. I didn't mean. It's just, with Zachary. The family. Uncle Ray's party. It's supposed to be joyful, not complicated. Nathan's laugh was hollow, echoing off instrument panels. Complicated. That's one way to say you're ashamed of me. Look, Mom, I get it. Dad's gone. You're lonely, clinging to what the church says. But I'm your son. Gay or not, that's not erasable. Tears pricked her eyes, unbidden. I know. God help me. I know. But every time I see you two, it's like losing Richard all over again. He was traditional, Nate. What would he think? He'd think his son turned heartbreak into wings. Nathan's voice cracked, just a hair. Dad knew, Mom, before he died. Pulled me aside at his last barbecue, said, love who lights your fire, kid. Just don't burn the house down. Evelyn blinked, memory surfacing. Richard's quiet nods during her rants, the extra hug for Nathan. Had she been blind? He never said, because he loved you enough to let you figure it out. Nathan glanced at his gauges, then back. Zach and I were solid. 3 years. A loft in Chelsea. Plans for more. But you're missing it. All of it. The cockpit door clicked open. Carla peeked in with coffee. "Everything all right up here?" "Peachy," Nathan replied, flashing her a grin. "Tell the passengers we're ahead of schedule." As Carla retreated, Evelyn reached out, hesitating before touching Nathan's arm. "I'm sorry. For the gate. For everything. Can we start over? After Aspen?" Nathan's shoulders eased, a tentative smile breaking through. "Maybe. But no more boarding passes to nowhere." Back in her seat, Evelyn nursed the revelation like fine wine. Bitter, then warming. She texted Ray, "Nate's the captain. Long story. Save me a scotch." Laughter bubbled up, surprising her. Her son, the pilot of her escape. Poetic justice. Meanwhile, on the ground, Nathan and Zach's drive had hit snags. A snow squall in Nebraska forcing an overnight in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Huddled in a roadside cabin rental, log walls, stone fireplace crackling. Zach stoked the flames while Nathan paced, phone in hand. "She's on my plane," he confessed, the absurdity hitting fresh. Co-piloting her to Aspen like some cosmic joke. Zach pulled him down onto the rug, wine glasses clinking. "Or a second chance. Talk to her, Nate. Lay it all bare." Under the fire's glow, they talked, not just about Evelyn, but the shadows in their own story. Zach's Navy discharge, honorable but hushed, after a commanding officer's unwanted advances turned ugly. "I thought I'd never trust again," he admitted, fingers tracing Nathan's jaw. "Then you stubborn, brilliant you crash-landed." Nathan kissed him fiercely, the kind of kiss that said you're my horizon. And now, we're mid-flight. Morning brought cleared roads and a voicemail from Nathan's phone. "Evelyn, voice thick, land safely. We need to talk. Love you." He played it for Zach, who whooped, punching the gas toward Colorado. But betrayal lurked, unforeseen. In Aspen's glittering embrace, as the jet touched down on a runway fringed with pines, the figure waited, not Ray or Lila, but Marcus, Nathan's old business partner. The man who'd co-founded Hargrove Aviation, then tried to oust him in a boardroom coup 2 years back, citing personal distractions code for Nathan's sexuality. Marcus, with his shark smile and Rolodex of investors, had sued for shares, dragging Nathan's private life into depositions. He approached as Evelyn deplaned, arm linked with Nathan's in a fragile truce. "Nate, heard you flew Mama Bird yourself." "Classy." Nathan stiffened, Zach materializing at his side like a shield. "Marcus, what brings you to Ray's Bash?" "Investments." "And amends." Marcus clapped Nathan's back too hard. "Water under the bridge, right? Bury the hatchet." Evelyn frowned, sensing undercurrents. "Old friend. Old snake," Zach muttered, low. As they piled into the waiting SUV, Ray's booming greeting thawing the air, Nathan caught Marcus's glance lingering on Zach, calculating. The weekend promised slopes and eggnog, but shadows lengthened. Betrayal wasn't just familial. It was corporate, personal, a web tightening. That night, at Ray's cabin, a A-frame behemoth with vaulted ceilings and a hot tub steaming under stars, dinner unfolded in fits of laughter and forced civility. Lila, vibrant in red, hugged Nathan tight. "You flew her?" "Ballsy." Ray poured scotch, toasting to Hargroves, blood and chosen. Evelyn sat beside Nathan, tentative questions about the airline tumbling out. How'd you start? After your father. His death, Nathan supplied gently. Pushed me. Wanted to build something that couldn't be taken away. Marcus interjected. Oily charm on. Nate's a visionary. Took risks, personal ones, too. His eyes flicked to Zach, who tensed beside Nathan. Zach excused himself for air, and Nathan followed, finding him on the deck, breath fogging in the cold. He's here to poach, Zach said. Heard rumors, trying to buy out competitors. Your mom's flight? He chartered it. Pulled strings. Nathan's blood chilled. Bastard. Using family to get to me. They kissed under the eaves. Urgent and affirming, but the seed of doubt sprouted. Could Evelyn, in her newfound warmth, be swayed? Or was Marcus the real storm? As snow fell soft, the cabin lights warm behind them, Nathan vowed silently, not this time. We fight together. The first full day in Aspen dawned crystalline. Sunlight fracturing off fresh powder like diamonds on a tycoon's cufflink. Nathan woke to Zach's arm draped over him. The cabin's guest room a sanctuary of flannel sheets and pine-scented air. Downstairs, the clatter of breakfast prep, Ray's famous pancakes. Lila's playlists blasting indie folk, drew them like moths. But Evelyn's eyes, when Nathan entered the kitchen, held a new softness, tempered by last night's confessions over cordials. Morning, flyboy, she said, sliding him a mug of coffee black as her guilt. Slept like a rock. That cockpit chat. It's been looping in my head. Nathan sipped, cautious. Good loops or bad? Truthful. She buttered toast. Movements deliberate. I was wrong, Nate. About the gate. About shielding myself from you. From Zachary. She glanced at Zach, who was charming Ray with tales of their Chicago detour. He's good for you. Steady. The compliment landed awkward. Genuine. A bridge beam laid across the chasm. Nathan nodded, throat tight. He is. Saved me from more than you know. Before she could probe, Marcus sauntered in, reeking of cologne and opportunism, a tablet under arm. Evelyn, the woman of the hour. Ray tells me you're the backbone of this clan. She preened slightly. Old habits. Just keeping the home fires burning. And you, Nate's partner in crime, was. Now, collaborator. Marcus shot Nathan a wink that screamed not for long. Speaking of, Nate, quick sidebar on that Denver expansion? Investors are circling. Nathan's fork paused midair. Later. This is family time. But Marcus persisted, cornering him post-breakfast by the stone hearth. Come on, old friend. Your mom's here, perfect buffer. She's got sway with the old guard, could vouch for a merger. Merger? Nathan's voice dropped. You mean takeover? After the lawsuit? Pass. Marcus leaned in, breath minty. That was business. This is legacy. Think Hargrove under one banner, your name gilded. Unless, his gaze slid to Zach, laughing with Lila by the window. Distractions pull focus. The implication hung, venomous. Nathan shoved back his chair. Get out. Ray intervened, clapping Marcus on the shoulder. Easy, boys. Powder's calling, no blood on the slopes. The group hit the lifts at Buttermilk Mountain. Aspen's gentler face. Wide blues for Evelyn's wobbly skis. Blacks for Ray's daredevil runs. Nathan and Zach paired off, carving groomers in sync. The rush of wind stripping away tensions. At the mid-station cafe, steam rising from mugs of cocoa, Zach cupped Nathan's gloved hand under the table. Your mom's thawing. Saw her watch us on the lift. Not judging, just observing. Yeah, Nathan exhaled, powder dusting his lashes. Feels like tiptoeing on glass. Then let's shatter it. Zach's grin was wicked. Tell her about the proposal. Nathan choked on his drink. Pro? We haven't. Not yet. But soon. Zach's eyes locked. Serious now. When the time's right. Make it official. Heart hammering harder than the descent. Nathan pulled him close for a quick, defiant kiss, tasting chocolate and forever. Up above, Evelyn watched from the deck, a pang twisting her chest. Not revulsion, but envy for the ease, the unshadowed joy she'd denied her son. Afternoon brought après-ski at the cabin. Mulled wine. Charcuterie race-war was imported from heaven, and Lila's guitar-strumming covers of Fleetwood Mac. Marcus hovered, schmoozing, but Evelyn drew Nathan aside to the library nook, bookshelves groaning with westerns and tax tomes. I owe you more than sorry, she started, voice low. After your father. I rebuilt walls. Joined that group, Pray the Gay Away they called it, but it was poison. Made me see you as a problem. Not my boy. Nathan leaned against a shelf, arms crossed. I remember the pamphlets. Slid under my door like threats. She winced. Ignorance. But seeing you up there, commanding that plane, you're Richard's strength, times 10. And Zachary. He looks at you like you're his North Star. A laugh escaped. Surprised. He is. Navy vet. Teaches history at NYU now. Keeps me grounded. Evelyn nodded. Tentative. Invite me to dinner sometime. In the city. Meet him proper. The offer hung. Olive branch extended. Nathan took it, pulling her into a hug, the first in years without reservation. Deal. But dusk brought the serpent's strike. As stars pricked the velvet sky, Ray's phone rang, his lawyer, voice urgent. Nathan Marcus filed papers. Emergency injunction on your Denver assets. Claims breach from that old suit. But it's bullshit. He's got a witness. Says you diverted funds for personal indulgences. Nathan's blood iced. Indulgences? Like what? A pause. Your trips with Zachary. Framed as misuse. Betrayal crashed. Title. Marcus, not just corporate sabotage, but weaponizing Nathan's love like a tabloid scandal. Zach overheard. Face paling. That son of a, Evelyn, entering with firewood, caught the tail. What's happened? Nathan explained. Voice steel. Your old friend Ray invited? He's gutting my company. Using me as the knife. Her face drained. He approached me on the flight. Said you'd softened since Dad. Needed tough love to refocus. I told him to shove it. But he planted seeds. Nathan paced. Firelight dancing shadows. God. Mom. If you'd believed him. I didn't. She gripped his arm. Fight him. We'll fight. The room convened. Ray fuming. Lila Googling injunctions. Zach mapping counterstrategies on his phone. Marcus, feigning innocence over Stu, was escorted out by Ray's glare. You're done here, Marcy. Aspen ain't big enough for your snakes. Alone later, Nathan and Zach soaked in the hot tub, steam curling like ghosts. He almost turned her, Nathan murmured, bubbles churning. My own mom. But he didn't. Zach tilted his head back, eyes on constellations. And she didn't board without you, not really. You were there. Every mile. Nathan straddled him, water sloshing, kissing deep, desperate, reclaiming. Marry me, he gasped against Zach's lips. Now. Tomorrow. Before the world burns it down. Zach's hands stilled, then cupped Nathan's face. Yes. Hell yes. Word spread by morning. Lila officiating via online ordination. Ray as witness. Evelyn in a borrowed shawl. Eyes misty. No church. No fuss. Just vows exchanged on the cabin deck as snow swirled confetti soft. I promise to fly through storms with you, Nathan said. Ring slipping on a simple band, engraved true north. I promise to be your steady wing, Zach replied, voice breaking. Evelyn, last to speak, clutched their hands. I promise. To learn. To love without limits. But climax loomed. That afternoon, Marcus's lawyers descended, Aspen Courthouse, emergency hearing. Nathan, still buzzing from vows, faced the bench, suits droning about fiduciary duty. Zach's testimony twisted into extravagance. Then Evelyn rose, unbidden. Objection, she declared, voice quavering but firm. That's my son. And his husband. Their life isn't indulgence. It's triumph. The judge blinked. Murmurs rippled. Marcus blanched as Evelyn unloaded. The boarding snub, the cockpit truth, her own complicity. I abandoned him once. Won't let you steal what's his. The injunction crumbled, dismissed for lack of merit. Marcus's witness recanting under cross. Victory tasted of champagne and tears. Ray toasting to unbreakable Hargroves. Yet in quiet aftermath, as they skied final runs, Nathan pulled Zach aside at the summit. What if she relapses? Or Marcus sues again? Zach zipped his jacket, snow in his hair. Then we adapt. Like always, descending, windsong in ears. Nathan felt the weight lift, not gone, but shared. Family, forged anew. But the true test, not on slopes, but in valleys ahead, where old wounds scar, and love proves its mettle. Winter's grip on Aspen loosened grudgingly, the post-hearing glow fading into a tense limbo as Marcus's appeals dragged into weeks. Nathan and Zach extended their stay, the cabin morphing from holiday retreat to war room, laptops humming with legal briefs, Ray's den stacked with takeout boxes and dog-eared contracts. Evelyn, who'd postponed her return indefinitely, threw herself into the fray, researching precedents till midnight, her Brooklyn pragmatism a surprising asset. You're a natural, Nathan teased one evening, as she cross-referenced clauses by lamplight. Ever think of law school? She snorted, waving a highlighter. After nursing your scraped knees? Nah. But this fighting for you feels like making up for lost time. Zach, brewing tea in the kitchen, caught Nathan's eye over her head. A silent sea? Progress. Their impromptu wedding band glinted on Evelyn's finger, a borrowed placeholder she'd insisted on wearing for luck. It humanized her, stripped the armor of judgment, revealing the woman who'd buried her husband and raised a son alone, fears calcifying like plaque on her heart. Yet cracks showed. Late-night calls from church friends back east. Evelyn, honey, that photo Lila posted? You at a gay wedding? What possessed you? Left her withdrawn. staring into the fire with a rosary twisted in her lap. Nathan found her there one night, the cabin silent save for embers popping. "Regrets?" he asked softly, settling beside her. She startled, then sighed. "Not about you. Never again. But the voices. They've been my choir for decades. Choirs change keys." He draped a blanket over her shoulders. "Or you find a new song." She leaned her head on his, tentative. "Zachary's good, you know. Reminds me of Richard, quiet strength. Tell me about your plans. After this mess." Nathan smiled into the dark. "A house upstate. Room for a dog. Maybe kids if adoption pans out. Teach him to fly, like Dad taught me." Her breath hitched. "Kids. You'd be a hell of a father." The vulnerability cracked him open. He pulled her close, the hug lingering till dawn crept in. Meanwhile, Marcus's shadow lengthened. A leaked email surfaced, him pitching to investors. Hargrove's CEO is compromised. Personal life bleeds into profits. Tabloids sniffed. A glossy rag running aviation air's high-flying scandal? With pap shots of Nathan and Zach at a pre-Aspen gala, lips brushing. Zach slammed the printout down at breakfast. "This is war. We countersue defamation. The works." Ray growled agreement, but Evelyn paled. "It'll drag everything out. Your wedding. Reconciliation." Nathan's phone buzzed mid-debate. His COO in New York. "Sir. Board's jittery. Stock dipped 5%. We need a statement now." The pressure mounted, climax building like thunderheads over the peaks. That weekend, the family decamped to Maroon Bells, Aspen's iconic lakes mirrored in glacial calm. A hike to Clear Heads, boots crunching snowpack, breath clouds mingling. Lila led, chattering about her Denver startup. Ray trailed, puffing a pipe. Nathan and Zach walked middle, hands brushing a lifeline. At the overlook, where Bell's jagged twins pierced the sky, Evelyn paused, wind tugging her scarf. "This view humbles you, makes pettiness look small." Marcus's timing was diabolical. As they descended, a chopper thwup-thwupped overhead, his dropping lawyers at the trailhead with summonses. "Service," one droned, thrusting papers at Nathan. "For the appeal. And a deposition subpoena for your mother." Evelyn snatched it, face ashen. "Me? Why?" "Witness to the family dysfunction impacting business," the lawyer sneered. Rage ignited. Nathan lunged, Zach hauling him back. "Touch her, and you're done." Ray charged forward, bellowing, "On private land? Get off. Or I'll have rangers on you like ticks." Chaos erupted, shouts echoing off crags. Lila filming for evidence. Evelyn crumpled the paper, tears freezing on lashes. "They'll parade it all, my failures. Your father's death. My blindness." In the SUV ride back, silence festered. Zach drove, knuckles white. Nathan stared out, betrayal's aftertaste sour. He knew. Used the wedding invite to scout, turn Ray's party into a trap. Evelyn broke first, voice small. "I told him about the boarding. Thought it was funny, ironic. God, Nate, if I'd known." "It's not you." Nathan twisted to face her. "It's him. Poisoning everything." Back at the cabin, strategy session, lawyers on speaker, plotting counters. But Evelyn slipped away, phone to ear, whispering to a pastor cousin. Words tumbling. I can't. It's all crashing. What if God's punishing? Nathan overheard. Heart sinking. The conflict peaked that night. Storm raging outside. Mirrors of inside. She confronted him in the hall. Eyes wild. This lawsuit. The press. It's because of you. Of us. If you'd just toned it down. Like I begged. The words landed like slaps. Undoing days of progress. Zach burst from their room. Face thunderous. Toned it down? After you vowed? Stop. Nathan stepped between. Voice breaking. Mom. That's the fear talking. Marcus's poison. She recoiled. Hand to mouth. I don't know anymore. Maybe I rushed. The church. Church that hates half of me? Nathan's voice rose. You were there, Mom. Said no limits. Was that a lie? Evelyn fled to her room. Door clicking shut like a guillotine. Zach pulled Nathan into their bed, holding him as sobs racked. She'll come back. Give her space, but doubt nod. Morning brought a note. Gone to Denver. Need time. Love, Mom. No goodbye, just absence echoing the airport gate. The betrayal cut deepest, not Marcus's machinations, but Evelyn's relapse, a backslide into conditional love. Nathan threw himself into the fight. Depositions in Vail courtrooms, media statements decrying homophobia in boardrooms. Zach stood sentinel, their marriage a quiet anchor, nights of fierce lovemaking, affirmations whispered like spells. Lila rallied. She's scared, Nate. But she flew with you literally. That's not nothing, Ray concurred, over cigars on the porch. Hargrove's bend. Don't break. Give her the wind. Weeks blurred. Appeals quashed. Marcus's empire crumbling under countersuits. Defamation. Harassment. Victory presser in Aspen's conference center. Nathan at podium. Zach's hand in his under the table. This isn't just about business, he declared. Cameras flashing. It's about family, blood and chosen, fighting for what's right. Cheers erupted, but Nathan's eyes scanned the crowd. No Evelyn. Then, as confetti fell, a figure slipped in back, her tentative smile, clutching a bouquet of wildflowers from the Bells Trail. She mouthed proud. The emotional crest broke. Nathan vaulted the rail, enveloping her. You came. Couldn't miss my son's triumph. Tears streaked her makeup. Or my son's. Zach joined. The three in a huddle amid chaos. A tableau of mended fractures. But romance's depth demanded more. That night, alone at last, Nathan and Zach drove to a secluded overlook. Engine off. Stars a canopy. She stayed, Zach murmured, head on Nathan's shoulder. We all did. Nathan kissed him slow, world narrowing to touch. And us? Forever altitude. Yet humanism whispered, no tidy bows. Evelyn's path wound on therapy sessions, church debates, but she showed, week by week. Dinners in Chelsea, holidays with toasts to Richard. Betrayal's scar faded, not vanished. A reminder, love's a flight, turbulent and true. As spring thawed the Rockies, Nathan banked his jet east. Evelyn aboard. No snubs, just stories swapped over champagne. Ground crew waved, Zach's hand in his. Steady. They soared, unbroken. Spring unfurled across the Rockies like a hesitant truce. aspens leafing green against lingering snowdrifts. Nathan's victory over Marcus sealed with a settlement. The snake buying out his shares at a premium, slinking back to whatever boardroom lair birthed him, left Hargrove Aviation soaring higher, stock rebounding, headlines shifting from scandal to CEO's courage. But the real narrative, the one etched in private journals and late-night confessions, was the slow rebuild of a family once splintered. Evelyn returned to Brooklyn via commercial, insisting on grounding after her Epiphany flight, but not before a tearful cabin farewell. She hugged Zach first, fierce and unpracticed. "Take care of my boy. And thank you for seeing what I couldn't." Zach, ever the diplomat, kissed her cheek. "We're family now, Evelyn." All in. Ray drove her to the airport, the old Impala rumbling with classic rock anthems, while Lila and Nathan waved from the porch. "Call me," she commanded, finger wagging. "Weekly. No excuses. Promise?" Nathan lied lightly. He knew it'd be daily, her texts peppering his phone with recipes and just checking in queries. Back in Manhattan, the Chelsea loft welcomed them with urban hum. Sirens serenading, neighbors' arguments bleeding through vents. Nathan dove into expansions, new routes to LA, eco upgrades with electric charters, while Zach prepped for summer semester, syllabus brimming with queer history modules. Their wedding, impromptu as it was, demanded formalizing. A small ceremony at City Hall, rings upgraded to intertwined titanium, vows renewed before a judge who beamed like a proud uncle. Evelyn flew up first class, on Nathan's dime, for the occasion, arriving with a cake from Junior's. Carrot, layered with cream cheese frosting, Richard's favorite. "Tradition," she explained, dabbing at eyes as Nathan and Zach exchanged bands anew. "But you're kind." The reception spilled into a rooftop bar, skyline twinkling complicit. Lila DJ'd, Ray danced with surprising grace, and Evelyn, after 2 wines, pulled Nathan aside. "I've joined a group. Flag. Parents like me. Learning." He squeezed her hand. "Proud of you, and I'm proud of this." She nodded at Zach, twirling Lila. "All of it." Months rolled, summer's heat wave yielding to autumn's amber. Nathan's empire hummed. Zach's classes overflowed with students hungry for narratives beyond binaries. But conflict simmered subtle. Evelyn's progress hit snags. A church schism over inclusion, old friends ghosting. One October call. Her voice cracked. "They say I'm betraying Dad's memory. But Nate, I see him in you. In your fight. Come visit," Nathan urged. "See for yourself." She did, timing it for Halloween weekend. The loft transformed. Pumpkins carved with aviation motifs. A spread of Zach's chili simmering. Evelyn arrived in pearls and jeans, a hybrid of old and new, bearing a photo album, yellowed edges whispering nostalgia. They pored over it post-dinner. Baby Nathan in footy pajamas, Richard hoisting him on shoulders at Coney Island. "He'd love Zachary," she said, tracing a faded print. "Strong jaw, like a Kennedy." Zach laughed, refilling her glass. "I'll take it." As All Hallows' Eve pulsed below, costumed revelers, jack-o'-lantern grins, Evelyn broached the unsaid. "I betrayed you, Nate. Not just at the gate, but years. Prayers instead of presents. Can you forgive?" Nathan knelt before her chair, a level. "Already did. On that plane. When you chose to stay." Tears fell. The hug that followed sealed it. Mother and son, unburdened. Yet the story's humanism lay in imperfection. Winter returned, bringing a scare. Evelyn's doc spotting early arthritis, a reminder of mortality. Nathan chartered the jet. Zach at co-pilot, symbolic, healing, ferrying her to specialists in Boston. En route, over Nantucket's lace of waves, she confessed deeper wounds. After Richard, I feared losing you too. So I pushed. Stupid, scared woman. We all push, Zach interjected from the jump seat. But we circle back. Aspen called again. Ray's New Year's bash. A tradition revived. The family converged. Lila with her girlfriend, a tattooed barista named Jax. Ray arm in arm with a widow from book club. Nathan and Zach arrived last. Snow tires crunching gravel. Evelyn waiting on the step with Coco. The party roared. Fireworks at midnight. Toasts to new chapters. As Auld Lang Syne swelled, Nathan pulled Zach to the deck. Rings clinking champagne flutes. 1 year since the vows. Feels like yesterday. Or tomorrow. Zach's kiss was soft, promising eternities. Evelyn joined, linking arms. To travels together. No more solo boards. Ray hollered from inside. Group hug. Laughter cascaded. Snow muffling the world. A family, patchwork but whole. In quiet coda, Nathan reflected. Betrayal's sting had forged them stronger. Marcus faded to footnote. A cautionary tale in business ethics classes. Evelyn volunteered at PFLAG. Her story, the homophobic mom redeemed by a son's wings. Inspiring panels. Nathan and Zach adopted a rescue mutt, named Ellis after the captain, and I'd IVF surrogacy, dreams expanding like horizons. One April dawn, Nathan taxied HA 717 for a charity flight, kids from underfunded schools, wide-eyed at controls. Evelyn rode shotgun, co-piloting virtually via headset. Look at you, she marveled as they climbed. Building bridges, learning from the best. He glanced at her, love unfiltered. Zach waited below, with coffee and a sign. Safe skies, husbands. They touched down to applause, the truest landing. In America's vast blueprint, from Brooklyn stoops to rocky spires, love proved not a detour, but the flight path home. Humanism's grace. No endings absolute, just continual ascent, turbulent yet tender.